Shalom from the heartland of Israel. Shalom from the center of the world. It's a wonderful, sunshiny day today. And it's a good time to start learning again, or to continue learning again from the Shulchan Aruch. Though the Shulchan Aruch is a very large, extended work of halacha, and that's why we also have the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch means the abbreviation of the Shulchan Aruch. In here, there are almost no commentaries. There's just the halacha and the slightly differences between opinions of halacha. For example, for the Ashkenazi way or the Sephardi way. But very much the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch is straight on if you just want to know what is the mitzvah and how to perform it. Then you should use the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch because it is a guidance for all the aspects of our life. So last time, a few months ago, before Pesach, we spoke about, in Shiur 16, we ended with the Mincha prayers. We concluded by saying that we should do the Mincha prayers at most 18 minutes before sundown, but better before. After Mincha comes Arvit, sometimes also called Ma'ariv, and the Arvit is 18 minutes after sundown. So if you take those 18 minutes, you get 36 minutes. And what we do is we take it slightly more than 36 minutes. So what we do is the last mincha here, where I live, is 20 minutes before, and the Arvit is 25 minutes after. So you get 3/4 of an hour in between the start of mincha and between the latest mincha, and between the start of the early Arvit prayers. Of course, the Arvit prayers you can do all evening. And there is a discussion in Masechet Berachot of the Talmud until when we can say the Shema of the Arvit. And some say until midnight, and some say until the third hour after midnight. But those are all exceptions, and we should not live in exceptions or in exaggerations. We also always should try to be in the middle. So if you can do mincha on an earlier time, comfortable at your work, do mincha. If not, do mincha when you're home with your congregation. If you don't have a congregation, you do it alone. If you come home too late to do mincha, you should do mincha during the day. Find a moment and find a place where you can be for like 15 minutes quiet alone. So the Arvit we can do all evening. So where I live, we have like 4 moments we can do Arvit. So there's room for everybody to choose his own hour. If you don't have a watch or a luach, a dictionary, an agenda, you can also look at the sky. Once you can see, when you can see 3 stars close to each other visible, some do also like this, they make a triangle with their fingers, and when you can see 3 shining stars through the triangle in the sky, that's the moment you can start Arvit. It's the same method we use. What is the earliest moment we can say Havdalah? Well, that's the moment. So some of you will say, but it's not complete dark yet. I can see the 3 stars. It's already 18 minutes or 20 minutes or 25 minutes after sundown, but still there's light in the sky. Well, that's true. But we decide, our Chachamim decided for us, they calculated when is actually the sundown and when comes the sun up. What does it mean? Which times are connected to it? Which moments? And when should we say? All are tefillah. So that's how we know that although there is some light that is just curving around the globe in the sky, after the sun is down, we can see 3 stars in the sky. That is the moment you can say, for the earliest moment you can say the Arvit prayer. Right. If it's a cloudy day, you should, more or less every day when it is, by looking at the sky, even if it's a cloudy day. But because it's a cloudy day, you're not sure. So you wait an extra 10, 15 minutes, then you're sure you're at the right moment. It would be best not to eat before Arvit, but eat after Arvit. But I can also understand that if you're living in a country where Arvit is at 10 o'clock in the evening, and you're eating maybe together with the family, then it's very hard not to eat until after 10 o'clock, because then will be the nightfall. So then you're allowed to eat earlier. But in a perfect situation, we should wait eating our evening meal until after Arvit. So we should always rush when there's a possibility to perform a mitzvah. We should always rush and hurry to perform it, to do it. That's also with Arvit. We should make sure that if we are able to do it as soon as possible, that we're there doing our Arvit. But we can do it all night, like I said. So we do in the Arvit, the most 2 important things are the Kiryat Shema and the Shmoneh Esrei. So the Kiryat Shema, we say in the morning and the evening, and we repeat it partly when we go to bed at night. But in the Arvit, we take time for it, just like in the morning. We say the Kiryat Shema with the brachot that go with it. If you forgot or did not time to do mincha and you're here at the Arvit, then you should first say your mincha while the rest of the congregation is doing the Kiryat Shema. And then you wait after they finish the Kiryat Shema, and you pray with them the Shmoneh Esrei of Arvit. And after everybody finished the Shmoneh Esrei of Arvit, you will do the Kiryat Shema. So in a case you forgot Mincha, you start with Mincha, the Shmoneh Esrei of Mincha, then you do the Shmoneh Esrei of Arvit, and then you do the Kiryat Shema. If you did Mincha already, you come to the congregation, you're with a minyan, then we can start. We can, and we start with the Kiryat Shema and then the Shmoneh Esrei. Of course, if you're alone and there's no minyan, you cannot say Kaddish. But if you're with a minyan, you can start and end also with Kaddish. So the Kiryat Shema preferably should be said seated. After that, we stand and we do the Shmoneh Esrei. If one of our friends is not so quick and everybody is already finished and we did the Aleinu and everybody goes home, but your friend is still sitting there, you should wait. It's a mitzvah to not let somebody stay alone finishing his prayers in the Beit Knesset. If you see somebody is not finished, you see your friend is still sitting there, just wait another 5 minutes so that he will be not alone finishing his prayers. He will be not alone exiting the Beit Knesset. Okay. The order of the night, a regular night. After completing the Ma'ariv prayer, you should set time aside, if it's possible, to learn Torah. Because we have to fulfill the verse that we shall meditate on the word of Hashem Elokeinu day and night. It's advisable for a normal, healthy person now to have a light meal. The evening meal should not be a heavy meal, but a light meal. If you eat too heavily, if the food is too heavily for your stomach, you will have a difficult time sleeping. It's not good for your body, it's not good for your mind. So before you go to sleep, it would be good for every man and woman to examine all his deeds of the day. What did I do today? What did I do wrong? What did I did correctly? Where can I thank Hashem for what he did in my life, for where he helped me? Where did I fail? And I have to ask forgiveness to him, or maybe make some corrections to myself, or maybe the next day do some corrections to other persons if I have done wrong to somebody else. So examine ourselves before we go to sleep. Make that our mind is cleared before we really are sleeping. Of course, what I forgot to say is, if during the day somebody sinned against you, somebody hurt you, you forgive him. Don't let any hatred, don't let any guilt, don't let anything stand between you and our eternal Maker. And make sure that our mind and soul is cleared before we go to sleep. If you did not recite the 3 chapters of Kiryat Shema after nightfall, how would that be possible? Well, there's an opinion that after the latest mincha, you can also do, if necessary, an early arvit. So we do the arvit normally, then we do it directly after mincha, the last mincha, but it's not yet sundown. It's not the correct time yet. That means that although you do the Kiryat Shema and the Shmona Esrei, that the Kiryat Shema is not counted as being fulfilling the mitzvah. So you should do it again at home, the Kiryat Shema, when it's dark. So it would be a good time before you go to bed. You still are dressed. You did not do on the proper time, or you forgot to do the Shema, Kiryat Shema. Then you say at that moment the Kiryat Shema. But if you did recite them, you did everything according the halacha. Nevertheless, it is a mitzvah to fulfill in excellence if you would recite another time the 3 chapters of Shema at the time of going to bed. Some say just the first chapter. Do the first chapter of Kiryat Shema before going to bed. And then we have our bedtime prayers also to do, where we ask Hashem Elokeinu to protect us during the night, to refresh our souls. We learn that sleeping is like 1/60th part of our soul is dying. So 1/60th part of us is going to Hashem Elokeinu, is in His presence, and is returning in the morning when we wake up again. So we ask Hashem to give us rest, to refresh our souls, to make us, to awake us again in good health in the morning, giving back our souls, starting a new day to bless Hashem Elokeinu. The easy way is to take your siddur and just do the prayers according to the evening prayers, before bedtime, then you have said exactly enough what is needed. Don't be shy and add your personal prayers to it. Being a Jew doesn't mean you know exactly how to follow the halakha. Being a Jew is the halakha is just a vehicle. Like a car is a vehicle to bring us somewhere, but the car itself will not bring us. We have to get in, decide the route, and start managing the car so it will be moving and driving towards the point where we will want to go. Well, the halakha functions the same. It helps us. It are the tools to make us to make known to us how to live a daily life and um, how to get from point one to B, how to perform the mitzvah. But we have to do the mitzvah ourselves, and we have to decide the route, and we have to decide more. It's not just the route, but if you are driving a car, do you want to bring drink? Do you bring music? Is somebody else in the car? Do you have a nice chat? Well, that's with Hashem. When you have the time of your prayers, you can add to your prayers, your personal prayers. You must make it personal. You not just the prayer itself, halachically a vehicle to do the required brachot and prayers, but do the extra, do the more. Show Hashem your intentions and open up your heart to Him by letting Him know how you feel about Him, what you like about Him, what you're thankful for all the blessings of the day and of the week and of the month, for your family, for your wife, your children, and ask Him to help you to be a better person. Ask Him to be a better husband, a better father, a better employee, a better employer. You can ask Hashem anything. If your desire is to live in the light of Torah and to sleep in the light of Torah, we should be open to Hashem and let Him know the thoughts of our heart. He knows them, but He wants to hear them. We have a custom to kiss the mezuzah goodbye before going to sleep. Then you undress yourself. Don't sleep in your day clothes, but sleep in night clothes. And in the morning, we put on our right shoe first, and or our left shoe first, and then we do our right shoe. Then we tie the right shoe, and afterwards we tie the left shoe. And on the evening, it's the other way around. We untie the left shoe, and we take it off, and then our right shoe. So correction. For example, with shoes that must be tied, put on the right shoe first without tying it, then the left shoe, then tie the left shoe, and then tie the right shoe. And when we are going to bed, we do it the other way around. We untie the right shoe, we untie the left shoe, we put out our left shoe, and then we put out our right shoe. We put out our sleeping clothes, of course, that's what I said. Don't put your clothes under your head because it causes you to forget your learning. And the best way of our sleeping position is on our side, not on our back or on our belly. Chapter 72. The great holiness of the Shabbat. One who desecrates it is like an idolater. Laws dealing with the commencement of Shabbat. The holy Shabbat is a great sign and covenant which the Holy One, blessed is He, gave to us, to know that in 6 days the Almighty made the heavens and earth and all that is within them, and abstained from work on the seventh day. This is the foundation of our holy faith, of our emunah and our bitachon. Whoever keeps the Shabbat in accordance with its laws is regarded as though he fulfilled the entire Torah. So the Shabbat is the central central spine around which Jewish life happens and flows. And we live towards the Shabbat. And once it is Shabbat and we close the Shabbat and half the life, we start living to the next Shabbat. The Shabbat is the day when we not just only rest, like not work, but it's the day that we have extra time for Hashem Elokeinu and for our families. It's time where we should charge our batteries. If you desecrate the Shabbat publicly, you are like regarded a non-Jew in every respect. It's a harsh halakha to start with, but we have to realize that on Shabbat we are abstained. We have to abstain from 13 halachot of 39 melachot of the Shabbat, 39 forbidden works, and those are avot, the big ones. We have some smaller ones which are derived from them. But on those 39 activities, we do not do on Shabbat. If you decide to do one of those 39 anyway, and you do it publicly, you not only are breaking the Shabbat yourself, but you are disrespecting the Shabbat and Hashem Elokeinu in public. So it's seen as very severe. And we should not do it. Don't touch wine we are not allowed to drink. Don't be unrespectful to the Shabbat table or the food. And the consequence, if we know that somebody publicly breaks Shabbat and is disrespectful to Shabbat and Hashem Elokeinu, is that we cannot be sure anymore if he keeps all the other laws of Shabbat. So when he invites you on Shabbat to his house, you don't know anymore if he yes or no eats or lives kosher and if his food are okay. So it's a very difficult situation if somebody publicly desecrates, so breaks and disrespects the Shabbat. It's a difficult situation. We better just only celebrate Shabbat and be around with people that want to keep Shabbat or the ones that are respectful or interested in Shabbat, though do not know yet what to do. The prophet describes, which prophet is it written here? Yeah, Yeshayahu 15, verse 6 says that the reward of one who keeps Shabbat in according with halacha and honors it and delights it into his utmost ability, he will be rewarded in the world besides the great reward reserved for him in the world to come. So there's a blessing of keeping Shabbat. Every Jew, every to-be Jew must keep Shabbat. You must realize that that keeping the Shabbat is not something of you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do such, you cannot do so, but it's about just leaving behind all those melachot and just relax and be in the presence of Hashem and your family. It is written, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. To keep it holy means you must remember the Shabbat every day of the week, and you must do the Shabbat. You must make sure it is holy by your actions and by not doing what you're not allowed to do. Even though you have many servants, it is a mitzvah for every person to do something himself in honor of Shabbat. So if you have many servants working for you, they clean your house and they cook your food, then actually they are performing the mitzvot of making everything ready for Shabbat, and you're not included in it. So it is best that you yourself also do something. If you have servants, if you don't have servants, you have to do everything. Clean your house, to cook, to make everything ready. Everybody must take a shower. We have to be clean, nice clothes, new clothes, uh, everything. It's good to put effort in it to make the Shabbat happen. And that is making holy the Shabbat. It's custom among Jews everywhere to bake breads, chalot, at home in honor of Shabbat. So the custom is to have in every meal 2 chalot present. We think to remember and to do the Shabbat with the candles, but we can also think about this with the chalot. Mostly we think about that Hashem gave us manna in the desert, in the Bimidbar. On Yom Shishi, He gave us 2 times as much. So we have 2 breads, 2 times as much as normal. The salt is there to salt after the bracha. You salt the bread because the salt is like sealing the covenant, like agreeing on the covenant, closing the covenant with another person. So we need the salt also. The chalot in honor of Shabbat should be baked at home if you're not possible and somebody else is selling and making and selling Shabbat bread. You buy it, of course. In the Shulchan Aruch it says 3 chalot should be made, but you must make the baracha at least on every meal on 2 chalot. So if you have 3 chalot, you have 2 at the first meal, you eat 1, you have 1 left. You take the third one with the second one for the second meal, you eat 1, you have 1 left. Now you have 1 left for the third meal. So then you make sure you have at least another small bread to complete the 1 bread for the third meal, for the Seudah Shlishi. Then you have 2 bread, you can say the bracha. The small bread you're not eating, but the challah you are eating. And so it says 3 chalot, but I'd say you need 4 chalot or 3 chalot and small one. If you're a big family, you need 6 chalot, but at least 3 chalot plus a small one. It's 4. We should prepare very, very nice, choicey, tasty meats, fish, fine wine. It must be a celebration. It must be a celebration. A lot of people start with fish, with salads, with the challah, with the bread, with hummus, tchina. Then the second course will be the meat and the vegetables. People make really a festivity meal of it. And that is how it's meant to be. Because we're honoring the Shabbat. And our Shabbat table, the first meal, the second meal, and the third meal, we compare them to the Mizbeach, to the altar of the Beit HaMikdash, where the food was offered for Hashem Elokeinu also on Shabbat. And we don't have at this moment a holy temple anymore, and we still want to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu our intention and our dedication towards Shabbat. So we treat our tables as if there are an altar, and all the food on it is like in honor there. It's the most tasty and nice food. It's in honor for Shabbat. It's in honor for Hashem, who is the creator and the keeper of Shabbat. And because Am Israel, we got the Shabbat as a sign of the covenant between Hashem and us. So every time we celebrate Shabbat and we sit at the table, every time again we have the chalot, we break the bread or we cut the bread and we use the salt and we do the kiddush on the wine every time again. It's keeping up in honor the covenant between Hashem and us. So we should rejoice in the coming of Shabbat and eager to make it the best Shabbat ever, every time again, even if you don't have so much to spend. try to make the Shabbat extra special. Try to make the meals of Shabbat extra special in comparison to the rest of the week. Regular work should not be done on Shabbat. Well, that's one of the most important of the 39 melachot. You shall not do work on Shabbat. Not even you, but also not your wife, your children, not your helpers, your workers, in the time of Torah, your slaves. Nobody in your household, even not the animals, should work on Shabbat. It's also good to try to not work at Yom Shishi afternoon. Although you are permitted to work, it's better to prepare not only by dressing and showering, but prepare your body, give it rest, prepare your mind, prepare your soul to enter Shabbat in Shalom, and not enter Shabbat without Shalom, hoping that the Shalom of the Shabbat will give you the Shalom. Yes, it will. But if you enter with Shalom, the effect of the Shalom that Shabbat brings us will be much greater. A lot of men give themselves a haircut and a beard cut before Shabbat. So what we usually do, and what's a mitzvah, is after the ninth hour of the day. So if you take midday, if we talk about Shabbat hours, we spoke about it before. We don't talk about clock hours. In summer, the hours take longer than 1 hour. So 1 hour is like a sun hour is like 67 minutes or 68 minutes. And that makes that the midday is not at 12 o'clock, but the midday is around 1 o'clock. In winter, the days are shorter, like 53, 54 minutes an hour. So if you divide the day between sunrise and sundown, between 12 hours, you cut them in 12 pieces, and then you take the third hour. Well, today, here in Israel, it gets dark at about 8 o'clock, and at 1 is around quarter after 1, it's midday. So in between are more or less 7 hours, so 3.5 hours, 1 plus 3.5, 4.5. So after 5 o'clock, we should not eat anymore. Why? We're going to eat a festivity meal. It's better not to eat in the afternoon. If we eat all afternoon, we are stuffed with all the sugar and all the cakes and all the food we took in the afternoon because we're hungry. And then you come at the Shabbat table and you're not hungry again. That's really missing out on the mitzvah of Shabbat. So don't eat before Shabbat. A few hours for Shabbat, stop eating. And then it will be okay. Let's see. Because I think it says here, every man must complete the parsha of the week with the congregation. That is, you should read the weekly portion of Torah twice and the Targum onkelos once. So during the week, we hear on Yom Sheni, on Monday, and on Yom Rivi'i, on Wednesday, we hear about the first 10 or 13 verses of Torah in the Shacharit prayers, but we should ourselves also study Torah 3 times a week. We will the one time in Ivrit, one time with a commentary, and one time with another commentary. If you don't master Ivrit, Then you read it in your own language, and the second time you read it with a commentary, and the third time where you read it with another commentary. The commentary which everybody learns all his life, 1 day a week, as the most important is Rashi, and Rashi treats mainly the 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 obvious explanation of the text, which you can just see by reading it and trying to figure out the story. But if you want to go deeper, there are a lot of other commentaries. Just try to find the lower and behind the scene message. It's a mitzvah for everybody to wash his face, hands, and feet with hot water every Friday. Take a shower. That's the best thing to do. Or a bath. Wash your hair. Cut your nails. Don't cut your nails on Shabbat, but do it before Shabbat. Let's see how far this goes. Okay. Every Shabbat, Erev Shabbat, we should examine our deeds of the week. Just as every night, we should ask Hashem forgiveness, correction, forgive those who sinned against us. And if we hurt somebody else, we should try to say sorry to them or ask them their forgiveness. We should try to wear fine clothing. A nice talit in honor of Shabbat is written. Well, in the evening we don't do the talit. You can do talit, but normally we don't do talit in the evening. But everybody is dressed nicely. Most of the men are dressed in a white shirt and with a kippah. Most men have a white kippah or something else for Shabbat than the one that you wear during the week. But it's no halakha that it must be white, your shirt. So if you come and you dress as fine as possible, like you're going to a wedding, dress like you're going to a wedding. Give honor to Shabbat also with your food. We cannot cook on Shabbat, so we should make sure that our food is heated in another way on Shabbat. If you have a stove with wood fire or coal fire, you should push the coals and the wood aside to the side of the area where they are, so that they will not directly give heating to stuff you put on the stove. But most people have a plata, and plata is an electric one, and you can put it on a timer to make sure the food is warm when you put the time clock that your food will be warm when you sit at the table. We cannot cook the food, so be careful not to cook the food too hot on the plata. Just warm it or keep it warm. Don't put the food on the plata when it's already on. When we're talking about on Shabbat, when the light is on of the plata, you see that electricity is running. You cannot put anything on it. You can take off, but not put back as long as the plata is functioning. Some have also a Shabbat oven, which they keep on all Shabbat, and you can warm your food there. Again, we cannot warm until it cooks. We just warm the food, not cook the food anymore. One thing that is very interesting, not a lot of people are aware of it, but our refrigerators often have a light in it. So when you open the refrigerator on Shabbat, you put on light. And we learned one of the melachot is that we cannot make fire. When we turn on a light, often inside of the button, there's a small spark. That spark is considered fire. We cannot make fire, so we don't turn on the light or turn off the light. So, can we see it here? What we do is we put Shabbat caps around the buttons of on top of the light buttons, so that we cannot put them out or on during Shabbat. It goes by itself. Some have a time clock, a timer on there. general electricity system, it's all possible. Just be sure not to make light or put out light on Shabbat. So you should also from the refrigerator turn the light off, or some other way that whenever you open the door of the refrigerator, the light will not go on. We should make sure, especially with coffee and tea, that we don't cook. If you have water in a water cooker, a water container that maintains warmth during Shabbat, we cannot. If we do like we take grinded raw coffee, we do it in a cup and we do water on it, it's considered cooking. So, because the water is oftenly too hot, and we're making from the powder in your coffee, which is not yet processed, just grinded, you make coffee. And that's also with tea. Tea is cut, but it's not done anything with it. So when you put tea bag in your cup and you would take directly water, it's considered cooking. So what do? The container is the kli rishon, the first one. Then you put it in another cup, empty cup, the water. It's the kli sheni. And after that, with that cup, you do it in a teapot or in another water container, and then you pour it again. And now you pour it on the coffee or on the tea. That's the kli shlishi. That's the cup you're going to drink from. If you have instant coffee, that's coffee that is already processed. So it doesn't need to be prepared, it just needs to be mixed with the water. You're not cooking anything anymore. You cannot add or take away from its flavor, it's there. So instant coffee you can take directly from the container, so your cup will be the kli sheni. But with powder coffee and with tea, definitely we have to use a kli shlishi. Your cup must be the third kli in which the water was. So you have a container, and in between, and then your cup. That is more or less about the Shabbat evening. Next time, we're going to talk about chapter 73, the condition whereby it is permitted to give work to a non-Jew on Friday and lend or rent vessels to him on Friday. Well, those are exceptions. Where normally don't work and everything, have a 1 hour house, don't work. We don't give anyone a job to do on Shabbat. But there are some things about to say. Anyway, this is it for today. I'm happy we started continuing learning Shulchan Aruch again, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're almost done with the first book. We have another one. We just continue learning together the halachot. It's very important to know and to get guidance by how to live a Jewish life, how to live according to the Torah, explained by the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. For now, Leitaot, Shabbat Shalom, until the next time. Bye-bye.